My name is Melissa Wood. I'm 27 years old, and 3 days ago, my own mother called me to say don't come home for New Year's Eve. Not we need to talk, not can we work this out, just don't come. You make the room feel heavy, Melissa. You know how you get. I know how I get. I've been hearing that my whole life. But here's what she didn't know when she said it. In exactly 72 hours, my company, Thread, was going public. $1.8 billion valuation. My face on the Forbes homepage. And every single thing my sister, Tatum Birch, told investors was hers was about to be proven mine. But let me take you back, because this story doesn't start on New Year's Eve. It starts at a graduation nobody came to. The Wood family wasn't just wealthy, they were Chicago wealthy. The kind with a lakefront house in Lincoln Park, a 40-year-old luxury retail chain called Wood & Co., and a dinner table where your worth was measured by how many people laughed at your jokes. My sister Tatum was their masterpiece. 4 years older than me, the kind of beauty that made waiters nervous. She wore things before they were trends. She could walk into a room and every head turned, not because she demanded it, but because she just expected it, and somehow the room agreed. She was being groomed to run Wood & Co. since she was 16. Dad introduced her at business dinners. Mom dressed her like a campaign. I was the other one. I got into Northwestern for computer science and data engineering. Mom smiled for the photo. Then I heard her on the phone that night telling her friend, "It's just numbers and screens, Deirdre. Tatum's the one with real taste." When I graduated, top of my class, thesis on AI-driven consumer behavior, my family didn't come. Tatum had a brand launch event that weekend, a pop-up for her fashion blog in the Gold Coast. Mom said, "You understand, baby. Tatum needs us there. Your ceremony is just a ceremony." Just a ceremony. I moved to Austin with 2 suitcases and a laptop, started building Thread in a studio apartment with bad AC and a fold-out desk from Target. My co-founder, Jordan Ellis, worked remotely from Portland. My early investor was a woman named Abigail Bailey, who saw my pitch deck and wired money within 48 hours without blinking. Back in Chicago, Tatum got a company card, a corner office, and a profile in Chicago Magazine. Mom sent me the link. No message, just the link. I want to stop here for a second, because what I'm about to tell you, what Tatum did, what my parents allowed, what happened at that dinner in November, I need you to understand it didn't happen overnight. It was a slow erasure, smile by smile, holiday by holiday, introduction by introduction. And this is our daughter Melissa. She does something with apps. Something with apps. I built an AI platform that looks at your body measurements, your lifestyle, your budget, your color psychology, and builds you a complete wardrobe from scratch. Not a quiz, not a filter, a full intelligent system that learns you. Retailers were already in talks with us. We had 80,000 users on the waitlist. But to my family, I did something with apps. The moment everything shifted was Thanksgiving 2023. Mom seated me at the end of the table, next to Tatum's boyfriend's college friend. Tatum sat at the center, next to Dad, next to the investors he'd brought as guests. Mom stood to make introductions. Most of you know Tatum. She's the creative director of Wood & Co., and honestly the reason this brand still feels alive. Applause. Tatum laughed like it was nothing, like she hadn't rehearsed that exact laugh. And this, Mom gestured toward me the way you gesture toward a side dish, is Melissa. She's in tech, very smart, just a little, she tilted her head, in her own world. A few polite smiles. One guest, a man named Alan Cruz, leaned over. "What kind of tech?" Before I could open my mouth, Tatum cut in. "She makes a shopping app," she said, smiling, still figuring out the business side. The table moved on. I sat there with a fork in my hand and a full plate I couldn't touch. After dinner, Mom found me in the kitchen. "Melissa, I'm not criticizing. I'm just saying if you talked more, people would include you more. You sit there like you're above everything." I didn't get a chance to. "I'm helping you, baby." She patted my arm and walked out. I left before dessert. In my car, I sat in the dark outside my parents' house and made a decision. I was done being the side dish. That night, I called Abigail. "I need to move faster," I said. "I need the IP locked down before I go back to that house again." She didn't ask why. She just said, "Call Matthew Reeves. He's the best IP attorney in Austin. Don't wait." I didn't wait. If you've made it this far, you already know this story isn't really about fashion. It's about what happens when the people who were supposed to believe in you decide your success is more useful to them than your happiness. Subscribe and hit the bell, because Tatum calls, and what she asks to hand over will make your jaw drop. January 2024. I want you to picture something. You've spent 2 years building something from nothing, skipped vacations, missed weddings, eaten cereal for dinner more times than you can count. You have the patents filed, the waitlist growing, the investors circling. And then your sister calls. Not to say sorry, not to say congratulations, to ask for a favor. It started with Mom. It always started with Mom. She called on a Tuesday morning while I was in the middle of a product meeting with Jordan. I let it ring. She called again. I stepped out. "Melissa, I need you to listen and not get defensive." That sentence, that specific sentence, I have heard it my entire life, and it has never once been followed by something good. Tatum is going through something. Wood & Co. had a bad quarter. Your father's stressed. The board is pushing for a rebrand, and Tatum needs a fresh angle. Something modern, something that shows the company is evolving. I waited. "She thinks your little platform could be the thing that saves it." My little platform. "Mom, Thread is my company. It's not a feature for Wood & Co." "Nobody's saying give it away, Melissa. Just consult. Just help your sister. That's what family does." I should have said no right then, but she was my mother, and I was, still, even then, desperately hoping that helping would make me matter to her. So I said yes. I drove up to Chicago on a Friday. Tatum met me at the Wood & Co. headquarters on Michigan Avenue. Glass building, their name in gold letters above the entrance. She hugged me at the door, like we were close. We were not close. Her office was on the 4th floor. Floor-to-ceiling windows, a velvet sofa, a mood board wall covered with editorial tears and color swatches. It looked like a magazine and smelled like expensive candles. "I'm so glad you came," she said, pouring sparkling water into crystal glasses like we were doing a photo shoot. "I've been telling Mom for months we need to work together." She had never said that to me directly. Not once. I laid out the basics. Not the core algorithm. Not the real engine. Just enough to show her the concept. How Thread reads a user's data. How it builds a style profile. How it could theoretically integrate with a retail chain's inventory. Tatum took notes on a rose gold notebook. She nodded. She smiled. She said, "This is exactly what we need," 4 times. Then she slid a document across the desk. "Just a standard NDA," she said, "to protect everyone." I read it. It covered all proprietary information discussed in relation to Wood & Co. business development. "This is pretty broad, Tatum." "It protects you, too," she said. "We're family. This is just paperwork." I signed it. I drove back to Austin telling myself I'd done a good thing. 2 weeks later, Tatum called again. Her voice was different this time. No sparkling water energy, no cream blazer warmth. "We need the full algorithm, Melissa." I went completely still. "The investors want to see the back end, the real system, not the overview you gave us, the actual source code and data model." "Tatum, that's Thread. That's my company. You consulted for us. What you developed in relation to our business belongs—" "Stop." My voice came out harder than I expected. "I filed those patents before I ever walked into your office. Nothing I built belongs to Wood & Co." Silence. Then, quietly, dangerously, "Mom said you'd be difficult about this." Mom said you'd be difficult. I sat with that sentence for a long time after I hung up. My mother had known. She hadn't just passed along a favor request. She had prepared Tatum for my refusal. She had framed my boundaries as a personality flaw before I had even had a chance to speak. I wasn't being difficult. I was being erased. Again, by the same people, in a new way. That night, I texted Abigail 3 words. "I need help." She called immediately. I told her everything. She was quiet for exactly 4 seconds. Then she said, "Okay, here's what we're going to do." I went quiet. Not the quiet of someone who gave up, the quiet of someone who finally stopped wasting energy on people who didn't deserve it. I blocked nothing, deleted nothing. I just stopped responding. Tatum texted twice in February. "Melissa, we should talk." Then 4 days later, "This silence is so childish." I screenshotted both, saved them to a folder I'd labeled simply evidence. That folder was getting full. Matthew had given me a system. Every email printed and timestamped, every voicemail transcribed, every text thread backed up to a secure server. Every meeting I'd ever had with Tatum or anyone from Wood & Co., I wrote up from memory the same night it happened. Date, time, who said what, word for word, as close as I could get. Jordan thought I was spiraling. "Mel, you're filing evidence logs at midnight." "I'm protecting myself." "From your own family?" "Especially from them." He didn't push back after that. March. Mom called. I let it ring. She left a voicemail. "Melissa, this has gone on long enough. Tatum is upset, your father is upset. You're punishing this entire family because you couldn't handle a business conversation like an adult. Call me back." I saved it. Folder. Evidence. April. Wood & Co. held a spring investor event in Chicago. I found out through Instagram. Tatum posted a reel, their new pitch, the future of personalized retail. Soft music, clean graphics, a preview of what she was calling their proprietary style intelligence system. I watched it 4 times. Then I forwarded it to Matthew with one line. "They're still doing it." He called within the hour. "This actually helps you," he said. "They're making public claims now. That creates a record. Keep documenting." How much longer do I do this? Until the timing is right. When is the timing right? When you're big enough that the truth can't be ignored. I went back to work. Not the grinding, anxious work I'd been doing for years. Something different, cleaner, focused. Thread's waitlist crossed 200,000 users. Abigail brought in 2 new investors, a firm out of Dallas, and a woman named Amelia Grant, who had built and sold 2 retail startups before 40 and asked sharper questions than anyone I'd ever pitched to. In our first meeting, Amelia looked at my numbers, looked at me, and said, "Who have you shown this to that you shouldn't have?" I told her everything. She didn't flinch. "Good that you documented it. Better that you waited. The worst thing you could have done was go public angry. You go public powerful." I wrote that down. Go public powerful. June. My father called. I almost didn't pick up, but something made me. "Melissa," his voice was careful, rehearsed almost. "Your mother and Tatum are saying you've gone completely cold, that you're refusing to engage." "I'm focused on my company, Dad." "I understand that, but family—" "Dad," I kept my voice flat. "Did you watch Tatum's investor presentation in April?" Silence. "Because I did, and I recognized every single concept in it. Did you?" Longer silence. "Melissa, your sister is under enormous pressure." "That's not an answer." He exhaled. "I think everyone just needs to calm down. Goodbye, Dad." I hung up. He knew. He had watched that presentation and he knew. And he called me anyway to ask me to be easier to deal with. Not to say, "This is wrong." Not to say, "I see what's happening." Just calm down. I sat on my kitchen floor for about 10 minutes. Then I got up, made coffee, and opened my laptop. August. Amelia introduced me to Dexter Hale, a journalist at a major tech publication who covered female founders. We had coffee in Austin. He was sharp, careful, the kind of reporter who triple-checked everything before he typed a word. "I hear you have a story," he said. "I have documentation," I said. "There's a difference." He smiled. "Even better. Walk me through it." I did. By the end, he was quiet for a moment. "Melissa, this is airtight, but I need you to understand, once this runs, your family will respond. It will get loud. Are you ready for loud?" I thought about every dinner I left early, every introduction that ended with, "She does something with apps," every holiday I spent alone because my presence made the room feel heavy. "I've been ready," I said. "I've just been waiting for the right moment." "When's the moment?" "New Year's Eve, the night my company goes public." He nodded slowly. "Then let's make sure every word is bulletproof." October. Threads IPO was confirmed. January 1st, $1.8 billion opening valuation. Dexter's article was scheduled to go live at midnight, the same moment the market opened. Matthew reviewed every word. Amelia reviewed the financials. Jordan reviewed the technical claims. Every source verified. Every timestamp confirmed. I sat in my Austin apartment on a Thursday night in October, looking at the draft on my screen, and felt something I hadn't in almost 2 years. Calm. Not happy, not angry, just settled. Like a person who packed for a very long trip and was finally standing at the door. December 20th. Mom called. I picked up. "Melissa." Her voice was already cold, already decided. "New Year's Eve is going to be a business event this year. Tatum has investors coming, important people. It needs to be a certain kind of evening." I said nothing, let her keep going. "I think it's better if you don't come. You understand what I'm saying." "You're uninviting me from New Year's Eve?" "I'm giving you an out. You hate these events anyway." "Sure, Mom. Don't be sarcastic. I won't be there. Don't worry." I hung up. Opened my laptop. 11 days.
December 31st, 10:47 p.m. I was alone in my Austin apartment. No party, no champagne, no countdown crew. Just me, my laptop, a hoodie I'd had since Northwestern, and a bowl of popcorn I wasn't eating. My phone was already buzzing with early messages from Jordan and Abigail. "You ready? You good? Call me if you need anything." I wasn't ready, but I was done waiting. Tatum had posted to Instagram at 9 p.m. I watched it with the sound off. The Lincoln Park house looked like a film set. White lights wrapped around everything, a bartender in all black behind a custom bar cart, Tatum in a gold dress laughing at something, her hand on the arm of a man I recognized from the Wood & Co. investor roster. Mom was in the background in emerald green, holding court near the fireplace. Dad was shaking hands with someone by the window. It looked like a catalog shoot for a life I was never invited into. I watched it once, then I closed the app. 11:15 p.m. I opened the Thread dashboard. 80,000 users on day one of our soft launch had become 340,000 by December. Retailers in 4 states had signed partnership agreements. Amelia had brought in a licensing deal with a major department store chain that alone was worth more than anything Wood & Co. had closed all year. The IPO paperwork was done. The investment bank was ready. The market opened at midnight for the holiday special listing. Dexter's article was sitting in a queue at the publication, scheduled, locked, ready to go live the second the clock turned. Matthew texted at 11:30, "Everything is clean. You are protected. Whatever happens tonight, they cannot touch you legally. Go." 11:45 p.m. I opened Tatum's Instagram one more time. She'd just posted a new story. The party in full swing now. Someone had brought a string quartet. There were maybe 40 people in that living room. Investors, business partners, a woman I recognized as the buyer for a major Chicago department store. The exact people Tatum had been pitching my technology to for the past year. All of them in my parents' house, toasting to a future built on something that was mine. I put my phone face down on the table, opened my laptop, watched the clock. 11:59. I want to be honest with you about what that minute felt like. It didn't feel powerful. It didn't feel like a movie moment. It felt like standing at the edge of something very high and very final, and knowing once you step off, the version of your life where you stayed quiet is gone forever. I thought about my mom's voice. "You make the room feel heavy." I thought about Tatum at that pitch meeting. She's been helping with research. I thought about my dad on the phone. Everyone just needs to calm down. I thought about graduating top of my class with nobody in the audience. The clock hit midnight. January 1st, 6 a.m. I hadn't slept. I was sitting at my desk with my third coffee, watching the sun come up over Austin, my inbox at 1,200 unread emails and climbing. I didn't feel victorious. I felt hollowed out, like something that had been pressed against my chest for 3 years had finally lifted, and now I didn't quite know how to breathe without the weight of it. By 9 a.m., the business press had picked it up fully. Wood & Co. faces investor exodus amid IP theft allegations. Thread IPO surges as founder's family betrayal story goes viral. Fashion tech founder Melissa Wood becomes youngest female billionaire in sector. Dexter texted, "My editor says this is the most read article we've published in 4 years. You okay?" I typed back, "Ask me in a week." At 10 a.m., Tatum posted a statement on Instagram. I read it standing in my kitchen. "My sister and I have had a long and complicated relationship. I am proud of what she's built. Any suggestion that Wood & Co. acted improperly is categorically false. We look forward to addressing these claims through the appropriate channels." Appropriate channels. Not, "I'm sorry." Not, "She's right." Just, "Lawyers are coming and I'm still in the gold dress pretending none of this happened." I forwarded it to Matthew. He replied in 2 minutes. "She just confirmed she's not settling. Good, means everything stays public." At noon, the Wood & Co. board issued a statement. I read it on my phone, sitting on my bathroom floor, because sometimes that's just where you end up. The board of Wood & Co. has voted to place creative director Tatum Birch on immediate administrative leave pending an independent review of intellectual property practices. We take these allegations seriously and are committed to full transparency. Administrative leave. Not fired, not yet, but removed. I sat with that for a moment. Tatum, who had never been told no in her entire life, was sitting in that Lincoln Park house right now on administrative leave while investigators went through her emails. I didn't feel satisfied. I felt tired in a way that sleep couldn't fix. The emails that hit hardest weren't from journalists. They were from strangers. "I'm a designer. My business partner stole my entire brand concept and I stayed silent for 2 years because I thought nobody would believe me. Your story made me call a lawyer this morning. I'm 22. I've been hiding my startup from my family because my dad says fashion isn't a real industry. I'm launching next month. You gave me permission. My mother told me last year that my sister was the talented one. I cried reading your story because I finally felt like someone understood. I read every single one, responded to as many as I could. Document everything. File the patents. Don't wait. Your work is real. Say it out loud until you believe it. You are not the problem. January 3rd. My father called. I let it ring twice. Then I picked up. "Nora." He stopped. "Melissa, sorry." He sounded old, smaller than I remembered. "I know you don't want to hear from me right now," he said, "but I needed to call." I didn't say anything. Let him find his words. "I watched Tatum's April presentation," he said quietly. "I knew, Melissa. I sat in that room and I recognized your framework, and I said nothing. I told myself it was complicated, that it was a family matter, that it would work itself out. It didn't work itself out, Dad. No." His voice broke slightly. "It didn't, and I let it go on because I didn't want conflict with your mother, and I chose the easier thing, every time. I chose easy over right, and I chose Tatum over you, and you deserved better than that." I pressed my fingers against my eyes. "An apology doesn't give me back the graduation you missed," I said. "It doesn't give me back 3 years of watching you stay quiet. I know that. Or the Christmas, or New Year's, or every dinner where I sat at the end of the table while Mom introduced me like a footnote. I know, Melissa. I know." Silence. "I'm not ready to forgive you," I said, finally. But I'm glad you called. That's more than I deserve. Yeah, I said. It is. We hung up. I sat on my couch and cried, not from sadness exactly, from the specific grief of loving a parent who kept choosing wrong, and finally hearing them admit it out loud. It didn't fix anything, but it was real, and real was more than I'd gotten in years. January 20th. Tatum texted. Can we talk? Not lawyers, just us. I stared at it for 2 days. January 12th, I called her. She picked up immediately, like she'd been holding the phone. Melissa. You have 10 minutes, Tatum. Talk. She exhaled shakily. I told myself I was bringing you in, like including you, making your work part of something bigger. I think I convinced myself that was true. Did you, though? Long pause. No, she said quietly. No, I think I just wanted what you had, and I'd spent so long being the one that got everything that it didn't even feel like taking. It just felt like redirecting. Redirecting. You called me your assistant in front of investors. You told Mom I'd be difficult before I had a chance to say no. You tried to sell my algorithm to outside firms without telling me. I know. Those aren't misunderstandings, Tatum. Those are decisions. I know. Her voice was almost a whisper. I don't know how to fix it. You probably can't, I said. But if you want to start, issue a real statement, not the Instagram one, a real one. Acknowledge specifically what you did, not for the lawyers, not for the board, because it's true. That will end my career. Maybe, I said, but lying already ended your integrity. You pick which one matters more. She was quiet for a long time. I'll think about it, she said. Take your time, I said. I'm not going anywhere. January 20th.
Tatum posted a statement, LinkedIn and Instagram simultaneously. I was in a coffee shop in Austin when my phone blew up. I opened it. I owe my sister Melissa Wood a public apology. Over the past 2 years, I presented her work as 9. I took her framework into investor meetings without her knowledge or consent. I pressured her to hand over technology she had built independently. When she refused, I involved our mother to make her feel obligated. I called her difficult. I called her assistant. I told myself I was including her when I was taking from her. I was wrong. Melissa built Thread from nothing. She protected it when her own family tried to claim it. She was braver than I was, and more honest than I deserved. I am stepping back from all roles at Wood & Co. to allow a full investigation. I hope someday to earn back trust. But first, I needed to say this publicly, because she was never given credit publicly. Melissa, I'm sorry. You deserved better. From the company, from our family, from me. I read it 3 times. The comments were split down the middle. Too little, too late. At least she said it. Apologies don't undo theft. This took guts, respect. I didn't comment. I called Abigail instead. She apologized, I said. How do you feel? I thought about it, honestly. Like it matters, but doesn't fix it. Like I needed to hear it, but it doesn't change what happened. That's exactly right, Abigail said. Both things are true. March. I moved to New York. Not running away, running toward. Thread's main operations were expanding to a Tribeca office. I found an apartment in Brooklyn.
One bedroom, exposed brick, a window that looked out over rooftops. I spent a Saturday unpacking, hung my patent certificate above my desk, put up photos, Jordan and me at the IPO celebration, Amelia and me at a product launch, Dexter's article framed small in the corner. No family photos. Not yet. Maybe not ever. I didn't feel guilty about it. June. Thread announced a partnership with a national retail chain. $40 million contract, full platform integration across 200 stores. We held a small press event at the Tribeca office. A journalist raised her hand. Ms. Wood, your valuation has nearly doubled since January. Does this vindicate your decision to go public with your family story? I thought about that word, vindicate. I didn't go public for vindication. I went public because staying silent was costing me my integrity. The success, that's not why I did it. Then why? Because the people who told me my work didn't matter were wrong, and I needed that to be on record. December 31st, 2025. 1 year later. I was in my Brooklyn apartment. Jordan was on my couch. Abigail was in the kitchen arguing with Amelia about whether we needed more food. Dexter was standing at my window pointing out landmarks like a tourist, even though he'd lived in New York for 6 years. My actual people, the ones I chose. At 11:30, my dad texted, "Happy New Year, Melissa. I love you. I'm proud of you. I know I have a long way to go. I'm trying." I stared at it for a moment, then typed back, "I know, Dad. Happy New Year." That was enough for now. Tatum didn't text. Mom didn't text. I wasn't surprised. I wasn't hurt. I was just done waiting for people to become something they might never be. At midnight, Jordan handed me a glass. "To Melissa," he said, who refused to disappear. We clinked glasses, fireworks somewhere over the river. I stood at my window and thought about last year, alone in Austin, hoodie, cold popcorn, watching a clock. I wasn't that person anymore. Not because I was a billionaire, not because Tatum apologized or Dad called or the article went viral, because I had stopped shrinking myself so other people could feel bigger. And everything, the company, the partners, these people in my apartment right now laughing too loud, all of it had grown in the space I finally took up. I opened my laptop later that night, after everyone had gone, started typing. 1 year ago, I was alone on New Year's Eve. My family had uninvited me. My sister was toasting investors with technology she stole from me, and I was sitting in the dark waiting for midnight. Tonight, I am surrounded by people who see me, not the version they wanted, the version I actually am. Healing didn't mean reconciliation. It meant accepting I deserved better and building a life that reflected that. Some of you have been asking, do you regret it? Was it worth losing your family? Here's the truth. I didn't lose my family. They lost me. The moment they decided my work was more useful to them than I was as a person, they lost me. I just took a while to catch up. If you're sitting on something right now, a business, an idea, a dream someone told you wasn't real, protect it, document it, file the patents, save the emails, build the paper trail. And if someone in your life, even family, keeps telling you you're too much or not enough, find people who know the difference. They exist, I promise. This was my story. What's yours? I posted it, closed the laptop, sat in the quiet of my apartment. Brooklyn outside my window, my patent on the wall, my life finally, completely, unapologetically mine. And for the first time in as long as I could remember, that was enough.